I can't hear them.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me be the first to tell you, Happy Valentine's! I don't want y'all to say we late next week, so we telling you now, Happy Valentine's! Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the E-Shack. It is a great Saturday to be alive, and we are here with you. A special good morning to everybody in our family of islands, everybody that's listening to us on the radio, who's tuned into us on ZNS, and on our Facebook viewers. Good morning. You're in the E-Shack this morning. Arlene, looks like we have another hoodie day today, man. I don't know what's going on. How you doing?
It is hoodie this morning. I see the sun trying to peep out, but I don't mind because let me tell you something. The sky is hoodie, but the juju tree hang. So, all is well.
That means all you do is you just sit right under the juju tree and eat juju, because you ain't gonna start sweating. You just eat till your belly full and start over again.
Thank God for good friends. Thank God for my brother, and thank God for my neighbor who actually put up 3 branches of his juju tree over the wall so I could get them. and so yes, all is well. Things starting to look up.
That is what good neighbors are for, I tell you, man. Chairman.
Hey, what's happening?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I don't know what you and Arlene talking about, but it's hoodie. It's not hoodie.
What do you call it?
It's hot. It ain't hoodie. It ain't cloudy, You all stop deceiving the public, yeah? 2 demerits right away.
I say 2 demerits right away.
Pick up garbage at lunchtime. Do they still do that? When they
do what?
Detention, pick up garbage at lunchtime.
I hope so.
Not in these new systems now. We don't want to demoralize the character of the children. So
man, stop.
They don't have... I mean, you're the dig, not the classroom soap. But anyway.
Virtual detention. What a time.
What a time.
That's plenty punishment.
Oh, yeah. Ronald Sims, good morning. It is so good to hear your voice. We hope all is well with you in master control.
All is well. Thank you. Good morning to all,
Well, you sound a little under the weather.
No, boy, I right on top of things.
But you thinking, but it's curry put company.
Ain't nobody qualified. None qualified.
You fret nerdy.
Let me say it again. Ain't none coming qualified.
All I say.
Still the best in the world.
We don't want to start off.
See you on base soon, my friend.
I hope so, boy. I can't wait.
Yeah, we really want to know if we can see y'all on Bay Street. We gotta wait to see what can happen.
Listen, you don't know. It can't happen. It will not happen. If the valley Stop talking fool. You come here talking fool every week. Stop talking fool.
Ali, hurry up, brother. I ain't dealing with Ronald today. I am not dealing with Ronald today.
Yeah, because all I gotta tell Ronald Sims is when you put yourself out, ain't nobody put you out. You decide you don't want to be there. And so we will respect your decision, the Great Valley Boys.
Wait for the greatest group in Jungle history.
Please.
I come here for this morning.
You start this, you start.
Yeah, I think we better pray. Because it's all downhill already. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, for the gift of life, we give you thanks. For our nation, we pray for peace, prosperity, and principle, recovery, and restoration. and for ourselves. We pray for wisdom to use your gifts wisely, especially the gift of Junkanu, so that we may honor you, serve your people, build better communities, a better Bahamas, and a better world. Amen.
Amen. Proud to be Bahamian. What y'all got this morning, man? What's going on?
Well, I got something. Because y'all is don't be paying attention to what is be going on inside the country anyway.
Right.
On the 7th of February, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture launched the National Cultural Commission.
Yes.
And that Cultural Commission, the executive chairperson is commissioned by Magistrate Carolyn Vaught. And
Vote Evans. Vote Evans.
That commission consists of 7 councils that will link into the commission, such as cultural education, religion, culinary, entertainment, arts, playwrights, and of course, Junkanu. And the goal is to commission and to create articles and documents, and of course, some type of cultural law or framework what they're going to be working from. All right. So for me, that is a step in the right direction from the ministry. And I said, that is something that I think we needed a long time ago. And I hope that it actually, is executed. I know we have capable and competent people that could do the work. And I'm happy to see, what comes out of that. So that makes me proud to be Bahamian, especially, hitting it from a cultural side.
Absolutely wonderful observation, and we extend our congratulations to Minister Boleg and to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture for that initiative. There was a National Cultural Commission when Prime Minister Christie was Prime Minister some years ago, and that was co-chaired by Charles Carter and Winston Sanders. And so this is the newest and latest version of that. And we truly congratulate the ministry for this initiative. It is needed.
Yes.
It is needed so badly. Our culture is under attack. And you and I were having this conversation before the show started. Change happens a lot of times so slowly. It creeps up on you and you don't realize how far down the road you have come. And we are, some people would consider the condition of our culture today to be in dire straits. And so that's a whole discussion for another time. And we certainly hope that one day we will have the privilege of hosting the minister to talk about it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Bastian, since you don't be paying attention in the country, I thought I'd just take them notes for you.
And he on the commission. How you mean he don't be paying attention and his name called?
All he want to do is execute, Arlene. That's all he want to do. Just execute. That's all.
You know something, Arlene? You see, who study, He just trying to prove that he studied through the week. That's all it is, I only want to see what he know.
Chairman, let me tell you something. We fully expect you to carry your chopper mode to the commission. We expect you to think like a Junkanu. Don't think normal, think stupid. We talking chopper mode now. And so we expect to see some wonderful things.
As you know, I'm a fella, I don't like to talk too long. If man about progress, I'm out of there.
Yeah. Well, progress will happen because people like you are there. And so no problem. Be ready to roll.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, folks, on that note, we're gonna go to our first break, and when we get back, listen, we already tell you all happy Valentine's Day. Now we come to bring gifts. Because we about to get an update about what's going on in the Junkanu world. When we get back, we'll be right back on the next side of the break. You tune into Junkanu 242.
Now I can message you when I come back.
maybe if that is the case, when we come back, you go from him reading the timeline, you go straight into introducing Dion and getting the show started. So you can throw whatever rock and bottle you got to
By
throw.
repeating those actions ourselves, we are only guaranteeing that we inflict the same pain on another person. I am a survivor. I have had the conversation. Say no to violence against women.
So you saw Larry take the money off the teacher's desk?
Yes, Mom.
And you told the teacher?
No, Mom.
Why not?
Because Larry wouldn't want to be my friend no more.
Honey, Larry did something wrong and you need to tell an adult. You may feel bad, but it is important that you do the right thing. Nobody has to find out that you told.
Okay.
Small crimes lead to big crimes. If you see a crime, you can call Crime Stoppers. It's safe and easy, and nobody knows who you are. You'll speak directly to someone in Miami or Toronto, Canada. They never ask anything about you. So be brave and do the right thing. We all need to help. Stop the crime before it's our time.
Guess what, Mommy? I feel good because I told somebody about Larry and the teacher get our money back. So pick up the phone. No one will never call you a snitch.
Call Crime Stoppers Bahamas today at 328-8477 or from the Family Islands, 242-300-8477. It's safe, and the life you save may be your own.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Crime Stoppers in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
All right.
From the Junkanoo archives on the Junkanoo timeline, the year was 1993. 3 years earlier, Nelson Mandela, the militant anti-apartheid activist and co-leader of the African National Congress in South Africa, had been released from prison after 27 years. And in 1994, he became the first ever president of South Africa to be elected in a fully representative democratic election. But in 1993, the same year that he received the Nobel Peace Prize, he was in the Bahamas for the Boxing Day parade. Certainly one of our most distinguished guests ever. Another exciting moment on the Junkanoo timeline.
Exciting indeed. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Junkanoo 242. The E-Shack is wide open this morning. But before I introduce our guest, Darren, you said that you claimed that you studied over the week, right? Throughout this week. You only get 50 out of 100, my brother.
Why?
Also,
Let me tell you why.
okay,
Because on this topic of the commission,
yes.
you failed to disclose another key point.
Let's hear it.
No, I'm not gonna hear it. If you studied well,
Yes.
you would know.
But I think
I'm not. Listen. I am not giving you the answers.
yes. I think I know what you're referencing. I think you're
Knowledge is to know and not to believe. You know or you believe.
all these trick questions that you have going around here. That's why we don't let you lecture no subject.
Anyway, all right then. Then you get 50 or 100.
I'll go with that. That ain't no problem.
That ain't a D. That's an F.
You could mark hard now.
That ain't no D. That's an F.
No
A
problem.
D for me, a D is about 65.
What a sec. Wow. All right.
My goodness, I'm glad you wasn't my teacher.
I'm serious.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very exciting show for you this morning. Darren Frank already wished everybody happy Valentine's Day, and the gentleman, so he came. He's also bearing gifts. So we'll see what type of gifts that he has for everybody this morning. But let me introduce our very, very special guest, Dion Miller, who is no stranger to us. He's chairman of the JCNP. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Arlene. Good morning, DF. Good morning, Bahamas. I'm doing
Morning, Chairman.
Pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to have you in the E-Shack this morning, sir.
Thank you.
So, we wanted to bring you on the show this morning because we understand, rumor has it that there's some interesting developments that's going on in the Junkanoo community. And rather than get it from the man around the corner down the lane through the alley, we wanted to get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Can you bring us up to date on what's happening in the Junkanoo community, please?
I absolutely. First and foremost, congratulations to yourself on your appointment to the Cultural Commission, as well as to Arlene on her appointment to the Carnival. To the Cultural Commission as well, by way of education.
You get 100%. You get 100%. You get 100%. You get 75%. You get 75%.
Yeah.
But I also have to congratulate you on being appointed to the commission as well.
Yes. Congratulations.
So
Thank you.
That's why I was given DF 65. No,
65?
50%.
Oh boy.
We can put him in detention. He got to take this test over.
Man, I get and he know the answer.
That's the point. He must
It's an open book test.
He must do the sleeping in class.
Yeah.
See?
In college, they used to call it an open book test.
You talk some and you keep some.
But you know, you keep coming. All right then. All right. You kept plenty.
Now, hold on 1 minute before we go any further. DF, how do I find our live broadcast on Facebook? I cannot find it when I go on our page.
It's not on the Facebook page?
I don't see it. I need somebody to help me.
And it goes live. You should have a video that actually pops up at the top of that screen.
And it's already live?
Yes, it's already live. Because I got everybody who's tuned in on Facebook. Alice, good morning. LeVar, Oaten, April Brown.
I'll keep wishing and hoping then. Let's hope mine pops in soon, because the last one I see is last week.
Okay, no problem.
And we gotta put Mr. Harcourt in detention right away. He threw in Rock and Ronald, you know what I mean? Ronald, this is for you. This is straight from the page. Stay barefoot. Saxons win when we want, others win when they can. I on Ronald's side on this one. I don't know where he coming from, where the Saxon coming from with this, because they with a little wild pride these last two.
Only 10 parades to be exactly. It was 10 parades.
It didn't want 10 parades prior to the last two.
It was only 10 parades.
All I could tell him and anybody else, refer to the records. That's all.
The chairman in trouble this morning said, hey, he coming here. He in trouble this morning.
All right. That's why I keep him quiet. I ain't getting in that.
But chairman, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so we have some exciting news in terms of Junkanoo. About 2 weeks ago, myself and the deputy chairman, Mr. Eric Knowles, would have met with the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Minister Mario Boleg, on the topic and discussion of Junkanoo and the return of Junkanoo. And I'm pleased and I'm excited to share that at the end of or the conclusion of those discussions, it was agreed by all that the JCNP could commence the planning of the 2022-23 Junkanoo season. And so we have been given the green light to begin planning for a return parade on Bay Street.
So hold on now. Let me make sure I hear this correctly now. Let me make sure. So are you saying now that it's quite possible, even more or probable, that we're gonna go to Bay Street this year? Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely. The probability is very likely that John Canoe will return to Bay Street in some form this year. And why as I said some form, is because as I indicated and I communicated with the government officials, there's still a lot of financial uncertainty that surrounds the whole community. And so the next step for the JCNP, the next immediate step for us, is to decide collectively on how those parades will look. We anticipate that there will have to be some amendments to eligibility, to rules, to the format of the parade. And so I'm excited because this gives us an opportunity to try some new things, to bring a new flavor to it. You know, I don't want, and it's my wish to not return John Canoe to parade as we left it in 2019 and 2020. So it's an excellent opportunity for us, but there's a lot of work for us. But we have to decide as a community on how exactly those parades will look.
Now that is,
You know, it is amazing how, Darren, it is amazing how some comments echo down through time. You know, because when Rory Sanders just said so, we need to use this time to fix John Canoe. They were powerful words that we heard. We didn't just listen to them, we heard. And so this, to me, is all a part of that process. You know, how do we get back to Bay? Like the chairman said, what are we going to look like? What are we going to change? So, Chairman, we got plenty to talk about.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Chairman, also, I don't know if you are at liberty to share at this time, but I noted, and Mr. Farrington didn't answer this on his test either. I noted that the JC, so I might have to take that 50 back and make it like 45. So, but I noted that the JCNP had a survey circulating on social media over the past few weeks, I believe.
Correct.
Are you at this time able to share the results of that survey?
Not yet, Darren.
Okay.
I'll make a guess. I'm more than willing to make a guess appearance back next week. But the survey will run until next week, Thursday.
Okay.
After which the results of that or the findings of that will be made and shared with the various John Canoe groups. But so far, we have had over 500 persons completed that survey, which is almost the equivalent of 3 category A groups. And so we're seeing a lot of interesting replies about on it. And you know, I'm excited to share it. What I wanted to do with that survey is I wanted to get a good cross section of how the average day John Canoe feels in regards to some of these proposed or some of these things that may be coming down the pipeline. Of course, at the JCNP level, you have your 5 group reps, and we all are familiar with those persons. But I wanted to kind of cast the net wide to get some of that feedback from the fella who may be on East Street there under the tree, having John Canoe talks, and to get their kind of input into it. And so I'm more than willing to share that information with you guys at 2 for 2 next week for you guys to break down and discuss. We asked about 10 to 12 questions. What do you see the future of John Canoe? What is your opinion if we amend certain rules, such as the lead costume, the step down, as we return back to John Canoe? So we really wanted to get from those persons, as you stated, from the horse's mouth, how they feel about certain elements, proposed elements that may or may not take place this year.
So, Chairman, I
also noted that one of the questions on the survey was, are we going to allow the Valley Boys back? I'm particularly interested in seeing how the results come back on that stuff.
This boy is trouble.
Very troublesome. Very troublesome.
You need to stop.
Oh boy.
Chairman Child don't mind, and he looking for squabble, trying to sell upset. But Chairman, let me throw a curveball at you. You just said in essence that the purpose of the survey was or is to determine what the temperature is on the ground in the Junkanoo community. How was this questionnaire distributed? Does the questionnaire ask you to tick if you are a member of a Junkanoo group and what exactly do you do? Or was it extended to the entire community? I'm just asking because let's say for the sake of argument, I'm a devious person and I have an ulterior motive and I fill out, 40, 50 of them the way I want them to be. What kind of checks and balances do we have that we will be able to then have confidence in what the results are?
So, Ali, and so we didn't include all that information as in what group you're affiliated with and anything like that. It just asks if you are a Junkanoo or a bystander. And so those are the only parameters in there. Like I said, but as soon as we get those information, I will share the entire platform with you so you can see the breakdown as to how those responses persons answered those questions.
Excellent.
Very good. We're definitely looking forward to that. So, not to put you on the spot, though, Mr. Chairman, but when we get back to Bay Street this year, from your mind, I'm not sure whether you would have had an opportunity to speak with your team yet. What do you think would be the parameters for us to get back to Bay Street?
Well, the parameters for us to get back to Bay Street is we have a long and hard road with a lot of hard decisions ahead of us. We still need to put in place guidelines in terms of COVID protocols for Junkanoos to adhere to it best. I know that'll be very challenging for us to do because it'll be difficult for us to police it, especially for the JCNP, because the JCNP is basically made up of the persons from different groups. And so I'm not sure yet if we are mature enough to allow the JCNP to come and do shark inspections and all of that. So we have to rely on the leadership of these different organizations to police themselves. And so we would have to put in protocols to guide Junkanoos for a safe return in the shark. Guidelines such as maybe we may have a scheduling system to limit the amount of persons that could be active in the shack at one time. Maybe we mandate that persons who are in the shack have to bring their own supplies so that there isn't that cross-contamination of sharing the same shares, etc. We're in the process now of trying to work with John Watlin's and other distilleries out there to see if they could sponsor these groups in terms of sanitizer, etc. Because as we know, the Junkanoo Shack is perhaps one of the least sanitary environments that we probably have in the country, and many of our workshops, our shacks are void of just the basic essentials such as running water, etc. Toilets, etc. So we have a lot of planning to do in terms of the parade in the public. Is our goal to make sure that the public can come and enjoy themselves in a safe environment and atmosphere. So of course we will have to put in COVID protocols for those viewers as well. Maybe we do require the persons wear masks. Maybe we require that persons, of course, be at least negative in terms of a rapid antigen test. We're working with the seat vendor, Chris Moncler, to maybe come up with just sections for persons who want to be 100% vaccinated. So there's a lot, Darren, to go into it. The days and weeks ahead will be rough. My message to the different Junkanoo groups and the Junkanoos is that we have to have an open mind. We have to be courageous. We must be prepared to embrace change. My carrying call for the season is that, look, we cannot come back to Junkanoo and the Junkanoo season the way that we left it. We have to embrace change. We have to embrace change. And one of the positive things I think that COVID presents us is that with the absence of Junkanoo, absence grows fondness, right? So it gives us an appreciation of that, hey, it's so close and it's so easy for us to lose this thing that we call Junkanoo in our culture, that we can put down the competitive aspect of it. We can all come together as Junkanoos, as Bahamians, as culturalists, to put our best foot forward, to make changes that are lasting, that will impact the next generation coming up behind us. So our sons, our daughters, our grandkids will have something to look to and look and see how we marked our manner. So there's a time of hard work and there's a time of change. I just want everyone to have an open mind to embrace change. We have to bring the traditionalists, which I call the traditionalists, the persons who are so adamant that we honor the past and kind of combine that with the persons, the modernizers who want to bring different influences in Junkanoo and come up with the right recipe to bring this and launch this thing back. And so I'm excited. I want to open it. Like the JCNP is an open floor. I'm calling all Junkanoos as soon as we get back to doing sessions. We're going to ensure that DF could stream live so persons to be interactive. We want all the Junkanoos to know the voice your opinion, have a role in this, and let's make this thing the best that it can be, and let's get back to doing what we love to do.
Beautifully said. Yes.
And it's really encouraging because, I totally agree with you and Rory, when made the comment that we cannot go back to, we can't pick up the bad habits that we left in 2019 and bring them into 2022. Let's leave them where they are. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And this gives us a wonderful opportunity to shape the Junkanoo parades in the manner that we want. So it's really, 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 really exciting. And I'm definitely looking forward to that.
All right, folks, we're gonna run to our next break. When we get back, we'll pick up with this conversation with the update from the JCNP. You tune into Junkanoo 242. We'll be right back.
What you hear on this radio station is governed by IRCA's Code of Practice for Content Regulation. The Code of Practice covers matters relating to program content that are of concern to the community, such as local content, news, current affairs, and programs for children, advertising, including political advertisements, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting in the Bahamas. The code also covers aspects such as access services for the hearing and visually impaired, and the procedure for lodging a complaint about anything broadcast by this station. The code is available on the IRCA website at www.ircabahamas.vs. To receive a copy of the code by mail or in person, you may telephone IRCA at 242-393-0234. Family Island dialing is toll-free at 1-242-300-8722. Or you may send a request by email to info@ircabahamas.bs.
Yeah, go ahead. I can't find my thing. I found it. From the Junkanoo Library, filed under C for cell phone. Do you know what is one of the most dangerous things that you can bring into a shop? Your cell phone is a built-in camera. Oh my God. We love those cameras on base, but before the parade, we don't want to see them in any of our shots. Definitely not. Not like the good old days, but in these modern days, everyone has a phone and a camera and has the potential to release our secrets to the world with one single click. So add to your list of shack rules, no picture taking in here. Our Junkanoo, we are so proud of it.
Welcome back, folks. You're tuning in to Junkanoo 242. Listen, don't take no pictures in here. The whistle blow. We all line up at the time.
Boy. Them pictures.
People really spoiled with one picture.
Hey, leaky now. Them pictures leaky, Bala.
I know a fellow almost divorced his wife for sharing his picture. she said, babe, I only sent it to my cousin. It was so pretty.
Oh, gee. Oh, gee. That means well, folks, we have the chairman of the JCNP in the E-Shack this morning, and he's giving us an update. An update on, guess what? We look like we going to Bay today. Well, this coming season, chairman. So, chairman, I need to throw one little rock right here. You know, because there was a bunch of hullabaloo and stuff with people. I would say people was misguided of, you know, what was going on over the season. In your talks with the minister, right? What y'all could do with the lights on Bay Street if Junkanoo coming down Bay? That's my question to you. Was there any talks among that?
You mean the lights?
Well, you was in here for the whole Christmas season when the people were saying that the lights more important than Junkanoo.
Oh, you mean Roston Square?
Oh, you was in there.
Oh, you mean that? All right.
Yeah. So we touched briefly on the lights on the Christmas tree. In particular, the Christmas tree. While the Christmas tree is beautiful, you know, the Christmas tree impedes on our skybox arrangement on the parades, and so we spoke about the size of the Christmas tree. In regards to the light display, it was an excellent display that we saw last holiday season, but that was last holiday season. We anticipate that those will in that direct area where that display was, that will be now bleachers. So we'll return to the Rawson Square bleachers. I've I'm not a proponent of those stuff, of the whole light show and all of that. I feel that it was beautiful. I think there could have been some more bohemian aspects to it in general, but it was very beautiful. And I think that they have to find or utilize a different area on Bay Street to do that. You have now that the cabinet building is down, that space is vacant. I hear one aspect of that will be some sort of seating garden. Maybe that will be a optimal place to put that. But as I say, it was beautiful last year, but that last year was last year, and it will be bleacher seating.
I think, Chairman, there's probably a fine distinction to be made that a lot of people did not pick up on. You know, plenty of people was hollering, "Oh, these lights gotta stay, gotta move Junkanoo," and the Junkanoo community. The feedback I heard was, "Don't even try that."
Oh, Junkanoo!
But I think there's a very fine distinction to be made between Junkanoo on Bay Street, the parade, and the bleachers.
Correct.
If you following me. Because
Correct.
Us in the road don't impact them lights at all, and they don't impact us. But the challenge is the patrons, and of course the seats are the seats are what pays the prize money or any kind of, if it's not a competitive parade, each group I'm sure will get something. And so
revenue generator. Yeah.
Right, a revenue generator. Thank you. That's a good way to put it. And so to me, that is the challenge as opposed to Junkanoo on Bay. If there's going to be some reconfiguration of the seats, how does the JCNP continue to get the much needed revenue from the bleachers?
Absolutely. And that's the key point. That is perhaps our main revenue generator is viewers paying for those seats to view the parades. And so as I indicated with the ministry and Ellery and all of the team that day, it was an excellent display. It was something different, and it really uplifted the spirit and gave the sense of holiday. But we're willing to work and utilize different areas of it where you can still have that experience and allow us to get back to doing what we do.
Beautiful. And what is so encouraging about this is that it is February. You know, the discussion is starting so early, and that is so very, very important.
Well, we should be well rested, 2 years.
Man, I gotta go make sure Ratty didn't bite my shirt. That's been hanging up now in the laundry bag for 2 years.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me. We got plenty cobwebs at the the shake out.
Absolutely. So, Chairman, generally speaking, have you been able, I know the questionnaires out there, you will not be able to give us the formal results of the question, and we encourage the Junkanoo community. Where can we find this questionnaire?
So
the
you can find it.
JCNP has a Facebook page.
JCNP Facebook page. You could go on the Junkanoo, the different Junkanoo platforms on social media, the Junkanoo Roast, the Let's Talk Junkanoo. Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
I also posted it on the Junkanoo 242 page.
Correct. Yeah. So go. We're encouraging all Junkanoos to go there, take the survey, let your opinion be heard, and act as a guide. We want to hear what you, the Junkanoo community, the persons who are the practitioners, and who we hope to get back in the Sharks and doing this work. We want to really hear how you feel. And one thing I want to do the different, Arlene, that we have done in past years. I want the executives of the JCNP to visit some of these different organizations and be a part of the group meetings, and so we can come and they can get a chance to interact with us. I think we need to interact more with the community, and so they can see and feel and touch us, not just in passing, but the hear those Junkanoos, because man, over the past 2 years, I've had many conversations waiting on the COVID line to take place and in the food stores, and I think it'll be good for us in a good, safe environment to go out to these various groups and to sit down with them and have a conversation and to get their, just to get their input and to connect with them.
Yeah, what we continue to hear here and there from different quarters is that a lot of people seem to think, and generalizations are dangerous, but a lot of people seem to think that the Junkanoo group leaders or the representatives sit around the table and do not communicate what is happening to their members, and do not very often reflect how the members feel about a particular issue. And I've often wondered whether or not it might not be a good idea for the JCNP to consider, if only quarterly general meetings. Yes, if it's quarterly, that's every 3 months, at the end of March, at the end of April, May, June, whatever it is, you have a meeting, a general meeting for anybody who is interested enough to come to hear the comments from the floor. But I also like your idea, because if you're doing it group by group, it takes longer, but you get an opportunity for even more feedback as well.
And that's a good point, Arlene. And I just wrote that down because that's something I was thinking about that a quarterly general meeting, at the sports center or someplace that could hold a whole masses. But we've been trying to do it, and we had a little break. And DF was leading, spearheading this. We have tried to get the information to those groups. We recognize that there is a communication gap. And so one thing that DF was doing was making sure that all updates were on social media in regards to the rules and what is going on, because that is the way particularly the young generation, that is the way they kind of get their information on their mobile phones. And so DF made sure that everything was online and they could have just sent a WhatsApp and you have the rules at your hands and all of that. So we're really trying to find ways to get to the members. The JCNP, we keep saying it, and Silbert said the same thing during his tenure as well, now I'll repeat it. The JCNP is an open society. We're not a closed society like a lodge or anything like that. We're open. Any Junkanoo could come and sign up and be a member of any of those committees, the rules, the parades, and have your voices heard. You can make recommendations. You will be reflected in the minutes, etc., etc. The only thing you can't do as a quote unquote public member is that you cannot vote when it's time to vote to enact recommendations, but you can be a part of the discussion. Your voices can be heard. Come, we have rich discussions in there. We are so welcoming in there. You know what I mean? So we encourage all Junkanoos, as soon as we put those schedule in and when we'll start having meetings and all of that stuff, to be a part of it. It's time to be a part of these committees and let your voice be heard. Where there's a lot of great suggestions and ideas out there, but they leave them on Facebook on the chats, or they leave it under the tree, or they leave it in the Junkanoo shack. You know what I mean? You know, and we are not monsters or we're not creatures. We got some ugly fellas in there now, but we're friendly people. We are very friendly people, and so you could come and talk to us. We are Junkanoo. We know each other, so you don't have to be shy and afraid. And no idea or recommendation is too small or should be considered stupid. Like I said, in particular this year, we need to come back new. We need to come back and be willing to try different things. And so I encourage everyone to get involved and to let your voices be heard.
That again, you said it so beautifully, you know, and I hate to say this, and I don't want to sound mean and disgusting, but you all are none of those things that you have said. But there are some quarters where people are cowards. Let me just say that word right out. You know, you could yap in the shack about the JCNP and what they are and what they aren't, and you could run people into the ground, but when you get an invitation like that to come and make your voice heard where it counts, you don't respond. And so, you know, it's so much easier to do the seatful behind the scenes. And now you are saying you have an opportunity to throw it right out there, make it public, be involved. And so we really hope that you are taken up on that very generous invitation.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Good. See if they can okay. Good. I'm seeing that on the Facebook page, we have a lot of people excited about this announcement about Junkanoo, you know, getting the green light to return back to Bay Street. I think you started to allude to it in the opening of what you were saying. Some of the challenges would be from where you said as the chairman and also your involvement. What do you think is going to be some of the biggest challenges for a lot of groups, you know, returning back to Junkanoo, you know, as the way it was?
That's a great question.
Well, of course, the number one challenge that I think everyone will face first and foremost is the funding. We have to try find the funding. Right now, we've held a meeting last week with groups and the leadership, and their task right now are trying to ascertain as to what level of funding that they will be able to attain. And so I think the funding is the first a big hurdle that we have to ascertain. I'm in the process now. We're in the process of JCNP with the government of trying to negotiate an increase in terms of the seed funding. But traditionally, those funds are not available until August, which is really late in the Junkanoo season. And so groups are right now trying to figure out the level of funding that they will be able to ascertain to put on parades. After the funding, the big question that comes into is the materials, the raw materials that we use to put on these parades. You know, there's been a global pandemic over the past 2 years. Crepe paper is produced in Germany and in China. We do not know if over the past 2 years have they been producing the materials. So it's a lot that over the next 30 to 90 days, it will be critical for us as a community to get through. But I think we need to first finalize and figure out the level of funding that is available to the community. That will determine what type of parades, how many parades, the makeup of the parades, and how that will look. And which of course will lead into the question as into the materials and where do we go from there, as well as the overall the protocols that we need to put in place to ensure that we can parade, keeping the Junkanoo safe as well as the spectators.
So Dion, let's be really talking about, I would call it campaigns. We're talking about two different campaigns. We're talking about the parade itself, because I want to talk to you about whether or not there'll be some categories that will be dropped because of the circumstances. But before we get to that, as you talk about funding, it's not only the funding that's needed for the parades themselves, but there's also, right, this is the whole preparation thing. These shacks need to have indoor plumbing. And that needs to be paid for. We need to have the sanitizer the hand sanitizing dispensers. We need to have basins where you can wash your hands. We need flushing toilets. I mean, how do we do all of this? And we already know that our sponsors are not what they were in the past. And that's even before we get to Bay Street and the materials needed for Bay Street, the shack infrastructure. How do we make that happen to the satisfaction of the health authorities?
And so we need a huge injection of capital. And what I recommended to the government is a private-public venture where a fund be established for Junkanoo with foreign investments, etc., where grants can be given to each Junkanoo organizations to make those improvements to their organizations and their workspaces. And so those discussions have begun. I know the government is in the process now of budgetary planning, and it's our hope, and we got to make it work. Whatever we come up with, that the government sees fit to really go forward and partner with us to put those investments and everything in place.
Boss Dion, you're muted.
Go ahead, Darren.
That's a lot to take in, particularly now that we only have a few months, and like as Arlene indicated, the financial resources may not necessarily be what they are, what they were.
Yeah, yeah. And that is one of the main reasons why I say, Darren, we will have to decide on what our parades will look like. We won't have the two jump back into those two big massive traditional boxing and New Day parades. It will look different. But I'm excited that we have an opportunity to crack those experiences into what we want to make it. And so it's a lot of hard work. The community got to come together, and this is why one of the main points I want to make the Junkanoos is to leave the competitive juices for the initial time being at the door. Put on your caps as a Junkanoo, as a nationalist, as we plot and chart our way forward.
Yeah, it's going to take a hell of a lot of creativity.
It takes changing the mindset, which is never easy.
Yes. Oh yeah. On a growth mindset at that.
Yes.
Cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our next break, and on the other side of that break, we are going to continue our conversation with Mr. Dion Miller, chairman of the JCNP. We are having a fascinating conversation about going back to Bay this year. See you on the other side of the break.
Do you have any of these available in a medium or small?
You saw Larry take the money off the teacher's desk. Yes, and you told the teacher.
No, Mom.
Why not?
Because Larry wouldn't want to be my friend no more.
Honey, Larry did something wrong and you need to tell an adult. You may feel bad, but it is important that you do the right thing. Nobody has to find out that you told.
Okay.
Small crimes lead to big crimes. See a crime, you can call Crime Stoppers. It's safe and easy, and nobody knows who you are. You'll speak directly to someone in Miami or Toronto, Canada. They never ask anything about you. So be brave and do the right thing. We all need to help. Stop the crime before it's our time.
Guess what, Mommy? I feel good because I told somebody about Larry and the teacher get her money back. So pick up the phone. No one will ever call you a snitch.
Call Crime Stoppers Bahamas today at 328-8477 or from the Family Islands, 242-300-8477. It's safe, and the life you save may be your own.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Crime Stoppers in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Well, what you scared of?
Grammy, if I tip off the police and somebody find out...
Ain't nobody gonna find out. Crime Stoppers ain't the police. They just does works with the police.
Same difference.
No, boy. With Crime Stoppers, you're safe. When you call their number, it Mr. Bahamas all together and go directly to Miami or Toronto, Canada. Ain't nobody gonna know your voice or that you name Bertram or that you live down the alley.
Grammy, you realize you IDing me right now?
Boy, I raise no criminal. If you see what gone down, call Crime Stoppers. They get no personal info. They just give you a PIN number.
So how you know so much about them?
How you think your uncle get up Fox Hill?
You serious?
If he won't be can, I able to turn him in.
So uncle know you was a snitch?
Crime Stoppers ain't never gonna tell nobody. And the top info, they just get cash.
You get paid and all?
You eating good, right? The light's still on, eh?
Rami.
Wait your man up. Stop the crime before it's your time. Huh?
Call 328-TIPS or from the Family Islands 242-300-TIPS.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Crime Stoppers in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Examples of excellence. When the Vikings Junkanoo Group started in 1963, Ted Sweeting was a prominent founding member. His spirit inspired every member of his group. And in a time when Junkanoo started at 4 o'clock a.m., Ted was fully dressed from 2 a.m., beating his drum up and down Nassau Street to rally his group. And then he would lead the charge of the back line and rush to Bay Street. As the Vikings declined, Ted moved to the Valley Boys, where his contribution over the years has been in many capacities. He inspired many, including his own sons, to appreciate the spirit of Junkanoo, and his insistence on excellence was evident not only in Junkanoo, but also in his professional life as one of the foremost morticians of our day. Ted Sweeting, gone but never forgotten, this week's posthumous inductee into the Junkanoo 242 Shack of Excellence.
There's no king
like a Viking.
Long live Ted, eh? Man.
Oh, yes.
Such a prominent legend in Junkanoo. I don't care what they say. When I hear that name, I wasn't around for the Vikings, but I think he was so proud of the Vikings, regardless of being a member of the Valley Boys, man. And his excellence shows in his work, and of course, like you said, in his influence to many around him. Folks, we're back.
Absolutely.
You're tuning in to Junkanoo 242. The chairman then come, give you all your Valentine's gift, then tell you, listen here, don't buy all the roses out the shop because you can need the Geckery paper because we get in the bay. All right? I hope you all ready. Listen up. Bastian, you ready?
And I ready to go. I wish I was calling Bay. I wish I was up in Junkanoo today.
This is too much time for him. This is just too much time.
So much could go wrong. That's all he said in his head. He ain't ready yet. That's what. He ain't prepared any costume. But okay, Chairman, you know, the updates are really coming in. I think right now what we're sitting at right now is up to the groups now to actually get inside the room and actually put in the work out the finer details moving forward as to what will govern the parades and, you know, what will happen in terms of guidelines and eligibility, like you said. So right now, I think since the cat out of the bag or the announcement has been made, those people need to start, you know, putting their thinking caps on. So when they sit around the room, you know, we could actually come up with something that would be a great presentation.
Mm-hmm. Now, somebody on Facebook, I can't find it right at this moment, made the comment about, you know, what the, sounds like that, Lavar says, sounds like there needs to be some consideration to one costume parade on Boxing Day instead of 2. It would be a disservice to Junkanoos and the Bahamian people to produce mediocre parades after the long absence of a full annual full annual parades, and I agree with him. My recommendation would be one formal parade, and even that I would revise in terms of taking out certain categories, and one heritage parade on New Year's morning where we go to have a good time and focus more on music and dance than we do on costumes. So, Chairman, have these discussions been going on yet, or they will soon start, or what? Or you're waiting for the questionnaire?
Those kind of conversations have begun, and in an informal manner. Those are two of the more popular suggestions that are coming to the table so far. Those formal discussions I anticipate will start within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But those are kind of what we heard. Particularly one competitive parade, mainly the Boxing Day parade, and the New Year's Day parade used as some sort of heritage or celebratory parade, remembrance parade. Party. Yeah, we've lost a lot of Junkanoo over the past 2 years, so maybe we honor those persons during that heritage celebratory parade. But those kind of discussions are about to commence.
Beautiful. What do you think? You have your finger on the pulse of the JCNP. Let's say, for the sake of argument, the proposal was formally made that certain categories, like lead piece, and there's a recommendation here to cut the step downs and the lead piece, or bring one lead piece, whatever. What kind of, have you gotten any reaction so far? Any indication of what the response would be like to those recommendations?
So far the response, Arlene, has been positive to those recommendations. Junkanoos are realists. We are real persons, persons that put in the work. When I mean put in the work, means that they understand the time, the dedication, the financing that goes into those things. Understand, I'm pretty much on the same page. And so I think what you would see this year for this season particularly is that in most instances there will be a suspension of the lead costume category based off the simple fact that, one, it is perhaps the most costly aspect of the group of one of the major expense pieces that the group should have to put in place, as well as limiting the step down category as well too, which is perhaps next to the banner. Those three things are perhaps your most expensive things. So what the talk is kind of trending towards is a dancing parade. Where you have, your jumpers and your whatnot, your choreographers, your music section, and etc. And whatnot. Not to say that we won't explore different revenues or events where we could do like a step down event or something like that. But that is where the floor is trending to removing those expensive aspects of it. But it'll be a full top down review, because we're looking at stuff. As much as the sizes of these costumes, where we put in and mandate that costume be X amount of size, and you can't go over that. Junkanoo is art, and people art, and when those artistic flows start flowing, these things get so huge and so massive, which is the problem that we have now. And so it'll be a full comprehensive review of every rule, every procedure that we got going on. To ensure that we be able to put on a as best as possible excellent parade and excellent show as we go forward.
Now Owen is throwing a fastball as well, and this is a major concern. He says, a major concern of mine is what would be allowed in our parades as far as materials are concerned if, capital IF, crepe paper isn't available for this season. Once Pandora's box is opened, it will be increasingly difficult to steer the ship regarding, quote, authentic Junkanoo costumes being displayed on our major parades, and that's a valid point. How do you respond to that?
That is an excellent point that Owen from Genesis just put forward, and is a major concern pre-pandemic of the JCNP in terms of the use of material use, because what we are seeing is a lot of persons and I guess with the color as it is, a lot of Junkanoos are getting lazy and are trying to shy away from the crepe paper. But Owen, I'm to answer that question. if the main material such as crepe paper is unavailable, then I would recommend, as the chairman, that we use indigenous materials such as just newspaper, such as straw. But we can't go into an atmosphere where we go bypass the crepe paper and everything, because as you know, a good saying is, once milk spilled, it's hard to get it back in the bottle. We don't want to set precedents, and so those difficult decisions we'll have to make. But we have to safeguard. We have to safeguard against what we consider the traditional forms of Jonkanu and Jonkanu costuming. That is very critical. And we are at a very delicate state in the history of Jonkanu now, because the appreciation for that particular craft as pacing, it is going away, and we need to find a way to foster that, to bring the love and passion back to that. We know it's time consuming, but that is all. We know that lends to the appreciation of it, the hard work and the amount of time that we have to put into the process. And so we need to find ways, Owen and Jonkanus, that we safeguard those things. I do lead costume, and so I'm a pacer. And so, you know, that is the best part of Jonkanu for me, is in the shack, pacing with my brothers and sisters and fellowshipping and that stuff. So we have to safeguard it.
And you know, Devin makes a very encouraging point. He says if the costumes are smaller, then there is enough crepe paper around. That's not an issue. Preferred colors may be the only issue. And so yeah, we have to that's an excellent point, and that's very encouraging. If the costumes are smaller, yes, Devin, the crepe paper stretching further, you're absolutely right.
Well, boy, I think everybody more anxious in anticipation to see where we go from here than anything. I see the chairman over there, he bald head, stop shining. That means he thinking, you know, he thinking deep now. He trying to figure out how we can get back on base safely, you know. And I think that's the question for a lot of groups. I think a lot of groups are putting their think tanks together and trying to figure out where they're gonna find, quote unquote, the funding for, you know, to be able to present, you know, something to the public. It's been 2 years, and a lot of people are anxious to get into the road, and we just want to get back into the road, you know. And it's not, when I say a good presentation, it's just you don't want to get in there haphazardly, you know. Everybody is ready to go on the road and rush. I'm trying to figure out how they can get us out the road, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we got
that's
put
the real problem.
We got to put our best foot forward.
You know,
we ain't going home no time soon, fella. You know how long we wait for this? You know how they love to come across the road, running you off of Bay Street. No, Terry, we better sound that alarm early.
I'm very early.
I want you the first person to say, "Boy, I ain't doing this next year." I want you the first person to say that.
Let me make it right there. You see, if we're talking about changing the mindset and we're talking about changing how we do things, then a part of that change of mindset has to be our level of discipline and reaction to what can and cannot be done. Yeah. And so if the agreement is made that you parade by X time, from X time to X time, we have to cause that to happen. We can't go back to Bay Street with the same attitude, oh, we's Jonkanu and we're going to do what we want to do and how we want to do it. That has to be a part of the change for the better.
Yeah, agreed.
Ronald, I agree with you, but by the same token, we also have to be, I don't want to say participatory in the decisions, but let's put it this way. The people who make those decisions have to have a certain understanding of what the frame, the state of mind is, not only of Jonkanus, but of the country as a whole. Yeah. And so I would not think that the very same rules would apply, at least initially. There has to be some understanding of the trauma. And I use that word seriously. We are not we are not, over exaggerating here. There has to be an understanding of the trauma that we as a country, particularly the Junkanoo community, have gone through because there was no Junkanoo. There has to be. We have to meet in the middle. It's not a question of, we making the rules and we want it this way and blah, blah, blah. But no, we have to meet in the middle and certain understandings have to be in place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I believe whatever decision is arrived at will be a collective decision by the people concerned and involved.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But we make decisions sometimes collectively, but some of us say, oh, I ain't paying that no mind. That don't apply to me. I can do what I want to do.
Well, you can't have individual, you can't have everybody doing what they want to, but once we as a community decide this is what we would like and we make the request, then we work together.
As they say,
and there's a question, so will the groups be limited by how many persons they can have on the parade? We are still in a pandemic, and I may say a lot of Junkanoos are not vaccinated. So what is the minister's view on this and the medical official?
That's going to be that's a hard question to answer, really.
That's a very hard one. That is a very hard question to answer, but I would say that that goes to eligibility. Like I said, all of those will be discussed, and every single thing, every aspect of our parade, Arlene, is up for discussion. As I keep saying, we cannot come back the way we left it. And so the question of eligibility and, for category A was 201, everything will have to be up for discussion, as I know, particularly for this year, as we plan to return back to Bay Street.
Excellent. You all certainly do have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of groundwork. There's a lot of groundwork to be covered. And so you all just have to put your shoulder to the wheel. It's going to be a rough year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a rough year. I just don't think it's going to be a very interesting year. We're going to make do with what we have in order to get in order to get to the parade. I think
rough in terms of what will be required of us, because not only are we trying to get to the parades the way we always do, but we also have some new circumstances now that we have to tackle at the same time as getting to big. That's what I mean.
Okay. Point taken.
Well taken. Wow. It's gonna be an interesting parade. We've been discussing. I mean, for the last 5 weeks, we've been discussing. What is a Junkanoo costume? Junkanoo, trying to get that down packed to give people an appreciation of what we have as uniqueness. So we're gonna have to see, how we tie all these things back in and present it, as our true art form. Folks, we're gonna run to our final break. Oh man, happy Valentine's Day, man. We getting gifts right here. Today we getting back to Bay. We're gonna run to our final break. You're listening to Junkanoo 242. When we get back, we'll wrap this show up and give you more good news. See you when we get back.
Respect sign. When vehicles without an accessible parking permit use a parking space designated for persons with disabilities, even for just a minute, that's 60 seconds too long. The abuse of accessible parking spaces is a daily frustration for persons with disabilities. It is inconsiderate, insensitive, and hinders persons with disabilities from effectively conducting business and actively participating in community life. Never park in a space reserved for people with disabilities unless you have a permit to do so. It is the right and respectful thing to do. This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, a unit in the Ministry of Social Services and community development. For more information, visit www.disabilitiescommissionbahamas.org.
The Princess Margaret Hospital Blood Bank is in urgent need of blood donations of all types. Blood bank hours of operation are as follows. Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The last donor will be accepted at 4:30 p.m. On Sundays, the blood bank is closed. Identification needed for donation include your NIB card or driver's license. Do not attempt to donate if you are sick or experiencing respiratory symptoms. Do not come to the blood bank in large groups, as we will be accommodating 3 persons at a time. For more information on how you can become a blood donor or instructions on what to do before coming to donate blood, please contact the blood bank at 502-7822.
And now for news off the Shack Wall. Happy birthday greetings to everyone celebrating birthday at this time, especially Charles Virgil, Conrad McCartney, Carol Johnson, Michael Astor, and to my niece Antonisha Nairn. And to you and everyone celebrating at this time, have a happy and a prosperous new year, everyone. Condolences to the family, to all who are grieving the loss of loved ones at this time, especially the family of Vivian Major of one family whose funeral is going on at Salem Union Baptist at this time, Taylor Street. And condolences also to the family of Rudolph Cornelius Cooper, formerly of Barabbas and the Tribe. We'd also like to remember, Jackson Burnside, whose birthday would have been on Valentine's Day. And you're asked to please support a medical fundraiser in aid of Thomas Smitty Smith of One Family. It will take place on February 26th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at St. Agnes Preschool, Market and Cockburn Streets. Chicken, steak, and fish. Choice served with peas and rice and choice of sides. Please contact Miranda at 818-0940 or WhatsApp 825-8321. Or Anthony Thompson in Eleuthera at 802-4490. Please support this worthy cause. Bastian, this line is for you. It's the countdown.
The countdown, I just want to also congratulate Owen and Angela Stubbs on the arrival of their new queen.
The princess.
The princess.
I don't think Owen sleep yet.
Congratulations. What a happy moment. And thank you for sharing it with everybody who believe they are a part of it anyhow.
Owen come, the baby come. He trying to figure out what gauge wire he need. He trying to build costume.
Listen there, he ain't putting the princess in no weight now. I tell him he gotta use plastic drinking straws.
Folks, listen, the countdown is officially here. Okay? It is Saturday, February the 12th, 2022. We are 45. Bastian, you hear that? 45 hopeful weeks from baby.
In capital letters and bold.
Yes, 45 hopeful weeks away from baby.
I hear you. I hear you, boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are in the closing moments of Junkanoo 242 for this Saturday, February the 12th, 2022. And we are having a wonderful conversation with the chairman of the JCNP, Dion. It's been quite a while, Dion Miller. It's been quite a while since we actually had the JCNP in to tell us what is going on. And he did come with some wonderful news, which is that there is a strong possibility of Junkanoo returning for this campaign. And we have been discussing exactly what it would look like, because there are certain circumstances such as financing, which perhaps will not allow the glamour and the majesty, well, the majesty can be there anyway, would not allow the glamour and the extravagance of parades that we have become accustomed to. And so this is a wonderful conversation. And if we are going back to Bay, we got plenty planning to do, Chairman.
You know what the fact of the matter is?
Absolutely.
You know what the fact of the matter is, and watch this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's going to be important to really define what we want these parades to be like.
Yeah.
And this is not to throw stones at it. Well, anyway, let me say it, right?
Yeah.
There are some groups who are in a better position than others. There are some groups that I'm sure have surplus supplies that can get them through this parade. Looking like they were on Bay Street from 2019, right? That's fact, right?
Okay.
In my mind, right? And in my mind at least, right? So it is going to be extremely important for us to set the standard for what this parade looks like. And our chairman, Dion Miller, continues to say that so that one group doesn't look like he just came out of a fine store, and the other group looked like he just trying to put on shoes. You know? Yeah. So we really want everybody to be on even keel here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, Devin is making a very profound comment, and it's important. He is saying, you know, he's responding to Owen and saying, if that box, open it over. And he says groups better check their paper supply first, then pick the theme. If plenty green, there we go in the bush. And that is exactly how you have to look at it in terms, you got to go with what you got. And what you have in storage.
Absolutely. I like that. I love it.
Yeah, me too. That's a powerful statement. Go with what you got. If you don't have plenty green and blue and aqua, you can't go under the water. And so and
there's a green in the pond.
You never see a pirate.
Well, you know, we may want to consider, and I've said this before, we may want that suggestion to pay tribute on New Year's morning to those who have gone before. You know, you welcome the new year, remember the past, look to the future, Sankofa kind of thing, and it's a big celebration. That's a wonderful thing. And I'm thinking that even for Boxing Day, and let me throw this big rock, we may want to consider not having a competition. And so you have a general theme, such as, you know, celebrating life or whatever we call it, and everybody just interprets it in their way. And even though it's a formal parade quote in that we are in our big, beautiful costumes and all this, it doesn't necessarily have to be a competition. So, you know, we got plenty to talk about.
Absolutely.
Boy, people talking about under the bush, algae from the water, green, everything, man. Y'all enough these people team ready to go. Bastian say his team was COVID from COVID start. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen here.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Listen here. For something as deadly, those images are absolutely beautiful. I could see me dress up in them. Those COVID images are absolutely beautiful for something that is so deadly and so destructive. Truly, the images are just beautiful.
So, buddy, this is where we are. This is where we are right now. Whew, just a breath of fresh air for everybody. I think some people nervous because we like, wow, what gonna happen from here? So there's an anxiousness and a burst of excitement all at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. We just don't know quite yet what that glimmer is going to signify, and a lot of it we have to make the decision while we're in the tunnel to get there.
I think people just want to get on Bay and hear the drums, man. It don't matter what. People just want to get on Bay and hear the drums.
Time to lock the music.
And I guarantee you, people could be on Boxing Day from Christmas Eve, on Bay Street from Christmas Eve.
It's certainly the best news this country has had for a long time.
Yes. I totally agree, Ronald.
Yes.
Ronald, I mean, you've been fairly quiet, right? What do you think, from your perspective, we should anticipate going into this season?
I think if we take the opportunity, as has been discussed all along, to reshape, redefine, what it is that we want to present, I think this is the ideal time to do it, to better the conditions, to better the parade themselves. You know, the whole COVID scenario, I think a lot of people, while it damaged a lot of people's mindset, I think it was an excellent opportunity for us to look collectively and reshape, retool, redefine ourselves personally and where we want to go as a people, as a country, as an individual. And the discussion about where Junkanoo heads now is certainly in keeping with the direction of bettering what it was we had and making it more defined, more lasting, more impactful. This is a golden opportunity to do that.
Let me tell you what scares me, right? And let me tell you what scares me about our costuming. If we don't have crepe paper, you can see more feathers on this parade.
You might be able to
You
get
can see
them.
more felt. You can see more decoration. So the thing that we want to run to may not necessarily be available in this dispensation.
And you have to take that in consideration, considering the difficulty and the movement in the shipping lanes and how you get product across the world and the timeline now and the expense related to it. That is a real concern, Darren.
Yep, inflation.
Yeah, and you know, so
inflation.
And that's why I said, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what these costumes look like, right? And yeah, very interesting because feathers ain't going nowhere. People got feathers from 1999, right? And I'm sure if I am very certain. If everybody in a Junkanoo group goes into that closet, they got enough paper to finish 2 costumes.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. Well, you know, I keep saying this. There was a time when we made our own feathers, and the same way the shipping lanes may prevent the paper from getting here, it may also happen with the feathers. And so, you know, in every crisis, there is an opportunity. And so we will just wait and see how it goes. But in the meantime, we going.
You see, you all laugh at me last week, right? Let me tell you, you all laugh at me, but you all didn't see where I was going. When I was talking about my leaf costume. Remember I was talking about my leaf costume?
You. I said they couldn't put you off the road. Who laugh at you? Must see DF.
So, you see? And we ain't gonna be short of newspapers. Old newspapers easy to find.
It wasn't the leaf, lady. It was a plastic costume.
Old newspapers easy to find.
Whoever laughed at your leaf costume, Darren, obviously have no appreciation for the history of Junkanoo.
My point exactly.
Brother, last week they had me for chalk in here.
Darren, that is not true. What was my comment? Darren, that's not true. What was my comment? My comment was when I said verbatim, if crepe paper is not available, that banana tree in the back of my yard could be in deep trouble. That's what I said.
You did. When I put my leaf costume out on them, what's this brother? Leaf, pure leaves.
Oh yeah, I with you.
Bastian, Booba said you a fish is still a fish.
Yeah, man. Like tell Boobas. A tree is a tree is a tree is a tree.
You all need to stop.
But we all hope for the best.
Yes.
And we hope that we will be able to get back on Bay Street. We hope that we can confirm it in sufficient time that will allow us to be able to pull together all the resources that we need to get us there.
And Chet, I really don't agree with you. Junkanoo, these present modern day Junkanoo parades, yes, they are competition, but Junkanoo is not competition. And so we are quite able to go to Bay Street without a competition. I think we need to release our minds from the fact that we can't have Junkanoo on Bay Street without competition. That's my personal feeling. It's far beyond competition.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, Arlene.
Yeah, absolutely. It's far deeper than that.
So, Mr. Chairman, it sounds then like we shouldn't have any competition this parade. These two parades.
They have to decide that.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to the powers that be. But from my standpoint, I am just excited and I'm just hopeful that that we'll all be on Bay Street together, united, celebrating our culture and the thing we call Junkanoo. So I'm looking forward to all Junkanoo groups being present on Bay Street doing their thing.
Yeah.
All right. Save me the leaves of that pale leaf tree, boss. I need to do something.
Chairman, let me ask you this. In terms of, you did give a date when the questionnaire would be, the results would be in. Will you have that information for us to invite you back for next week?
Absolutely. I just got a message that is looking well and we're on track. So prior to next week, you'll have that information in your hands.
So next week, we would like to have you back so that we can hear the results and then see what has transpired in this interim week then.
Yes, absolutely, most definitely.
Okay, and we thank you so much for being here this morning because truly it has been a wonderful session. And Darren, go ahead.
I have one request. I'm putting this out to the Junkanoo community now. I looking to buy some white paper, some gold paper, and some yellow crepe paper. Call me.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Bastian.
I tell you, you can't go. I need white. You can't go wrong with white. So anybody who got white, call me. I'll buy it.
Like they don't need it and they ain't gonna hoard it. Ladies and gentlemen, on that exciting note, we thank you so much for being in the E-Shack with us this morning. It was truly another wonderful experience. Thank you for being here. Dion is always a very special guest, and we really enjoyed what he had to say this morning. And so until next week, when he comes back to update us on how things are looking, please remember that this is Junkanoo 242. Wherever you are in the 242, stay safe, practice all the protocols. We want to get back to Bay. And in the meantime, make sure that you let everything that you do prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are all proud to be Bahamian. We'll see you next week.